This video is brought to you by the MagicCandleCompany.com. Visit MagicCandleCompany.com and use offer code OFFHAND15 for 15% off your entire purchase. And if you didn't catch that, don't worry, I'll be repeating it a lot at the end of the video. Quick, look at the title, okay? Now look back up at me. You probably have a lot of questions. You can't fix what's not broken. Why would you want to change the Haunted Mansion? And I thought this was your favorite ride. The answer to all three being, it isn't, because it can always be better, and it is. You look at my shirt. But how? How do you ask would you fix this magnificent attraction? Look at this. It's one of the best rides Disney has ever built, and in my opinion, the best ride Disney has ever built. But the best can always be better, and I'm here today to answer that question. What makes the Haunted Mansion so great, and how can we improve it? Now, I'm not insinuating that the Haunted Mansion is broken or that it's busted and old and gross. That's the exact opposite. If there's anything I want you to take away from this video, it's that I like the Haunted Mansion the way that it is. But I got a few ideas. And with the help of a few talented artists, we've brought these ideas to life, and we're going to show you concepts from these certain ride scenes that I think would add to the Haunted Mansion. This is how I would fix the Haunted Mansion. But like I said, it's not broken. Don't get it twisted. You know, just watch. Let's watch this together. Figure it out.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Where do I even begin? Okay, I have a very long history with the Haunted Mansion on this YouTube channel. And well, now I think it's the time to bring my level of fandom to a whole new level. The Haunted Mansion is classic. It's timeless. It's one of the best aged attractions in Disney history. People ride it and love it as much as they did back on opening day in 1969. Although the same can't be said for other rides like the Astro Orbiter or even Autopia. Oh, Autopia. But I think it's time to bring the Haunted Mansion into the 21st century while retaining all of the classic aspects that people have grown to know and love over the years. And so we start from the ground up. Keep in mind, in this video, I will be redoing Disneyland's version of the Haunted Mansion. Disney World, maybe sometime down the road, but I'm focusing on the original for now. The exterior is going to remain largely unchanged. I think the Haunted Mansion is perfect the way it is right now. It's very atmospheric. You can see it from all over New Orleans Square. And I think passing through those green wrought iron gates helps make the ride more atmospheric. You're feeling very serene, but also a little nervous at the same time because you're about to enter the scariest attraction Disney's ever made. Well, second scariest. Okay, actually maybe third scariest. Now I know there's one thing we don't have in Disneyland, and that's the blessing of space. I mean, just look at this. Yeah, I don't have it either. But my plans call for new scenes in addition to the old scenes, things to add to the mansion, not just things to take away. So keep in mind that there's probably not enough space to build this at Disneyland. It would just be nice if there was in this hypothetical alternate universe where I can redo the Haunted Mansion. And now, we'll start at the loading zone. Now you may have noticed I skipped right over the stretching room. Maybe you think I'm not doing any changes to it, but that's not entirely true. They're just very minor changes. And the change is I'm going to make it nearly identical to Walt Disney World's stretching room, and if you're unfamiliar, let me explain to you. The stretching room in the Magic Kingdom has a lot more special effects than Disneyland's does. You can hear the walls creak and groan as they stretch, the gargoyles talk after the room is done stretching, and you can hear the ghost host circle around above your heads as he gives you his intro spiel. Yeah, that's what the gargoyles sound like in the stretching room, and that's all going to be in the new version of the stretching room. It really helps, and I say this a lot, but it's very important to me, boost immersion. I think the Haunted Mansion is at its strongest when every nook and cranny has something to show. And I think injecting a little afterlife into the stretching room helps pull you into the story that much more. Well, that, and it gives you something to hang back for and stay in the stretching room while the rest of your group goes into the changing portrait hallway. And now, to the changing portrait hallway. One of my favorite parts of the ride because this is a remnant of the early walkthrough idea for the Haunted Mansion. Back in the day when you would be given a tour through the Haunted Mansion, where a tour guide would show you different scenes and different ways the ghosts could mess with the house, and even in some cases you, I honestly can't think of a single thing I would change in the portrait hallway, except maybe add more of the unused changing portraits that they used in Walt Disney World. Let's move on to one of the first really big changes I would make to the mansion though, and that's to the Doom buggies themselves. And hear me out on this has to be part of the ride for the rest of my ideas to work. Trackless Doom buggies. Trackless ride systems have honestly kind of changed what dark rides feel like at their core. Things like Rise of the Resistance or Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, coming soon to Epcot's World Showcase. They offer more of a sense of exploration. You don't really know where you're going to go next, and although the Omnimover is good for aiming guests to see what scenes Disney wants you to see at a certain time, trackless ride systems can do this almost as well, if not better. And so with these new Doom buggies, the Doom Buggies 2.0, you're never following directly behind or in front of your neighbor. But in an idea taken from Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, spoiler alert for if you have not been on the ride, stop now and go to this timestamp, it's presented to you like a classic Disney train ride at the very beginning, all the carts following behind the head locomotive, before eventually later on in the ride splitting off from each other and going their own routes. And that's exactly what it's gonna be like in the Haunted Mansion. The Doom buggies will all chug along at their standard speed, at their standard distance away from each other before you reach a very important scene where they all split up. The biggest change I'm doing to the Haunted Mansion, this new scene happening in the Corridor of Doors. Instead of continuing on through the ride as normal to Madame Leota's seance room, our Doom buggies will split up, each one going into a different door to one of 4 different scenes. Back in the early days of the Haunted Mansion, it was planned to have a sort of companion attraction called the Museum of the Weird, designed by Imagineer Rolly Crump. A place that would house rare relics and collectibles, not necessarily haunted in any way, just very weird, hence the name. Well, most of them weren't supernatural. There were a few that were. A certain one being one of the coolest and scariest things ever designed by WED. Picture, if you will, your Doom buggy entering one of the doors in the Corridor of Doors, and emerging into a dark hallway with only a few candles to light the way. As you journey down the hallway though, more and more melting wax candles appear, making the room appear brighter and more illuminated, which is good. But further down the hallway you hear a weird sound emanating. Sounds like your average everyday run-of-the-mill ghost moaning and groaning, but it's more strained. It sounds like the ghost is really struggling, and then you come face to face with him. A very tall animatronic dripping with melted candle wax with the help of projections. The source of the strained breathing you heard before. You've come face to face with the original Wax Candle Man. As your Doom buggy passes by, he reaches out toward you, maybe even takes a few steps toward the Doom buggy, dripping wax all over the scene as he does and just making a big old mess that he needs to clean up later. You know you need to get away, and your Doom buggy agrees as it flips around and enters a door behind you. You then regroup with the rest of the Doom buggies before witnessing the clock striking 13 and then going into Madame Leota's parlor. But that, everybody, is only one of the 4 possible paths you can take. Let's rewind a second and enter another one of these potential paths. Yet another concept from the Museum of the Weird, the man-eating plant, returns in this version of the Haunted Mansion. Don't worry ladies, you're safe, this is a man-eating plant after all. This second hallway you can find yourself in is very similar to the scene in Haunted Mansion Holiday, where everything is overgrown by plants, and in this hallway there are windows everywhere showing the outside and how that is also overgrown. The walls around you are covered in vines, and these vines are covered in flowers, like those you'd see in the Enchanted Tiki Room, for example, just a lot more scary and angry. And then, in the next show scene, you see him, fully realized from his concept art from back in the 60s, the man-eating plant. This time with his leafy tendrils expanding all over the room and the claw-like leaves coming from his pot reaching out and swiping at you. If you can't tell, for these extra scenes I'm going for full interactivity. Your Doom buggy tries to turn around and leave, similar to the Wax Candle Man scene, but you get snagged on some vines and you can't quite escape. After a few seconds of pulling and tugging, your Doom buggy flings backwards through the door before meeting up with the rest. You have narrowly escaped the plant. Yet another concept taken from the early days of the Haunted Mansion, one that almost made it to the ride, but not quite. Captain Gore was to be an old pirate captain, which would actually tie into Pirates of the Caribbean, by the way, who killed his wife in the house. I know, it's a little dark. In one version of the story, her ghost would haunt Captain Gore until he finally took his own life in the rafters of the mansion, which went on to inspire the ghost host in the rafters of the mansion. Poor guy. This third scene is not going to take any inspiration from that story, but instead take inspiration from a canceled special effect that guests would have seen in the walkthrough version of the Haunted Mansion, as was originally planned. As we enter hallway number 3, it appears just like every other hallway in the mansion, with the disheveled purple wallpaper and all the cobwebs everywhere. The thunderstorm we see out of the windows in the changing portrait scene is intensifying, and with a flash of thunder, the lights go out. The room is now completely dark, but if you squint, you may see some glowing footprints following your doom buggy down the hallway. It sounds like the footprints are walking through puddles. It's a very wet, sloshy sound before the lights come back on and you see him. Captain Gore and all of his crewmates in their spectral glory. While the lights were out, using 2.5D technology of course, the room has transformed into a sort of pirate's lair. A sort of macabre, ghostly version of the second half of Pirates of the Caribbean. This scene being a little less scary, a little less intense than the other two. It's more of a fun pirate party, they just happen to be ghosts, before you join the others at the clock that strikes 13. Alright guys, I know all of my previous ideas for the ride were based off of concepts that were never used, but this is going to be something original, something brand new, something exclusive to the Offhand Disney Channel. Based on a real-life haunted house that would go on to inspire the Haunted Mansion in San Jose, California, the Winchester Mystery House. And yes, it's a mystery. Built between the years 1884 and 1922, this house is extremely confusing. Take it from someone who's walked through it before, it's a bit of an exercise, mentally and physically. But it was quite the amazing opportunity to see up close, and you can see references to it mainly at the Magic Kingdom's Haunted Mansion in the Never-Ending Staircase, or the Endless Staircase, or the MC Etcher Room. Really, it's got a lot of names. But since the Endless Staircase is absent from Disneyland's version, we're going to bring that over from Magic Kingdom, but we're also going to turn it up to 11.
These go to 11.
Picture it now, everything you know from the Endless Staircase and more. Crazy edges, doors opening and closing by themselves, people moving around in mirrors that you can barely see out of the corner of your eye. And this is in your trackless Doom Buggy, remember? So your Doom Buggy is flipping around corners you didn't even know were there, going up slopes that didn't look real. And because all of the other rooms have animatronics, and I don't want this group to feel left out, let's just say some ghosts from the rest of the Haunted Mansion show up at the top of stairwells and indoors. Before we all meet back up together for Madame Leota's room and the ballroom scene, they're all pretty much the same that we've come to know and love. Maybe they've upgraded a few of the animatronics or given the spider on the spiderweb a friend. Something like that, something small. The attic is once again where we kick it up another notch. The Doom Buggies will split up again and each explore one of 5 different routes, each one pertaining to one of Constance's husbands. And of course, since we're going all in on animatronics here, they'll each get their own based off of the mayor from Thunder Mesa from Phantom Manor in Disneyland Paris. Before we reach the final Headless Man, the best one of all, the Hatbox Ghost, who remains completely undisturbed from his original incarnation. Completely the same, nothing different. He's perfect the way he is. Don't even think about touching him, because if you do, I will get angry. And now, last but not least, we cannot forget the graveyard scene. This is the finale for the ride, the fun in the Haunted Mansion. Mark Davis's favorite part of the ride. We have to do it justice. So the new graveyard scene will be an homage to the original. No one's splitting up here. We're going to be sticking together the same way we do in the Haunted Mansion today. The only difference is there's going to be a lot more obstacles in the way. Things like feeling the cobblestone path beneath you as you ride, or ducking behind some sort of bush. But what I think is most important is making the graveyard just a little bit longer so you can bask in that atmosphere for a little while longer. That and fully articulated faces for the pop-up ghosts. I want them to say things to me as I walk by. I want them to blink their eyes, wiggle their ears, sniff their nose, you know, that sort of thing. And lastly, on our way to the hitchhiking ghosts, we will pass through some crypts showing us different skeletons in various stages of decay, trying to join the party outside. But keep in mind, these are fun skeletons, you know, they're dancing, they're jamming, they're having a fun time. This is the fun part of the ride. Think, again, Phantom Manor. I'm taking a lot of inspiration from Phantom Manor for some of these ideas because they have good ideas, okay? And we need some more of that in the United States parks. But of course, all good things come to an end, and we cannot leave out our friends, the hitchhiking ghosts. These guys are a staple of the Haunted Mansion, and we're keeping them. I would never dream of getting rid of my best friends like that. But instead of what you see here, the janky, sort of semi-alive, weird-looking animatronics, we're going to make them fully electric and fully articulated. They're going to be way more lifelike. They're going to move around and it's going to be fantastic. Like that. And most importantly of all, everybody, they are not going to be video screens. No, physical animatronics. It looks so much better. And that about wraps it up, everybody. I may have skipped over Madame Leota's room and Little Leota at the end of the ride, but I feel like these scenes are great the way that they are. Maybe some updated lighting in Madame Leota's room. Maybe you can add the astrological signs from the Magic Kingdom version, but there isn't really too much to add there. But are there any things that I missed from this episode? Are there things that you wish would change but just don't? And what if Disney gave you the reins? They said, do whatever you want to do to the Haunted Mansion. It's all yours. Go crazy. What would you do to the Haunted Mansion? What is your dream addition, or what would you take out or change? Let me know in the comments because I really want to talk about this with you guys because I have so many more ideas. Maybe I need to make a part 2. But until that day arrives, this is where I'm going to leave it for this episode of What in the World Will Offhand Disney Do to the Haunted Mansion Next? And who really knows, maybe someday in the not so far future, we may see some of these ideas come to life. And all of you will know where you saw it first. That's right. It's here. Hello everyone, this is VoiceOver Dallin, and this is an ad for the Magic Candle Company. Visit magiccandlecompany.com and use offer code OFFHAND15 for 15% off your entire purchase. If you're interested in candles that smell like the Haunted Mansion, burning Rome, or maybe even, that's right, churros from Disneyland, visit the website in the description down below. I can't hold all of these offers. These offers are just so good. So if you're interested in getting your loved ones or, you know, maybe yourself a little gift for the Christmas season, head over there and use offer code OFFHAND15. How many times have I said that? Not enough, evidently, because you haven't gone to the magiccandlecompany.com yet and used offer code OFFHAND15. So I'm gonna say it one more time. Please go to the magiccandlecompany.com and use offer code OFFHAND15 for 15% off your purchase. Have a nice holiday. And that, everybody, is the end of the video. People often ask me what I would do to the Haunted Mansion if given the chance, and there, it took me only 16.5 minutes to explain it to you guys. Not too bad. I feel like I glazed over a lot, and I mean a lot of stuff here, but I think that's something we can save for a later day down the road. And so whenever that day comes, I hope you will all join me. But first, let me give a massive thank you to the artists that are featured in today's video. These people, seriously, they make the coolest stuff. Those two being Mercedes for the amazing Wax Candleman and Marcicist for the awesome Man-Eating Plant. If you want to see more of their work or maybe commission your very own piece, head over to the link in the description to their respective places. And as always, a very big special thank you to my friend LMG Vids for supplying footage for this video. As always, everybody, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all a little later. Remember that?